Jamaica's political history is filled with influential figures, but few have stirred the kind of emotion, admiration, and debate as Portia Lucretia Simpson Miller. To her supporters, she was Mama P or Sista P, the people's leader who came from the depths of poverty to shatter the glass ceiling as Jamaica's first female prime minister. She represented possibility in a country where politics was long dominated by men of privilege. To her critics, however, she was a leader who leaned too heavily on charisma, left lingering questions about governance, and struggled to manage the challenges of modern economics. Her life and career are not just the story of one woman's rise, but a reflection of Jamaica's struggles with class, gender, leadership, and accountability. Portia's journey is one of resilience and contradiction. She inspired women across the Caribbean and beyond, proving that leadership was not confined to elite circles. Yet, her time in office was also marked by controversies that fueled the skepticism. She commanded the loyalty of her constituency for over 4 decades. Yet, internal divisions within her party and external pressures often limited her reach. To understand her legacy, one must see both sides of her story, from humble beginnings to her triumphs, her challenges, and her eventual retreat from public life. Birth and early childhood. Portia Lucretia Simpson Miller was born in the rural community of Woodhall, St. Catherine in 1945 to mother Ethelyn Tulloch and father Zedekiah Simpson. Her father chose the name Portia after the heroine in Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice, perhaps unknowingly foreshadowing the commanding role his daughter would one day play in Jamaica's political stage. Growing up in modest circumstances, Portia experienced firsthand the struggles of ordinary Jamaicans, something that would later shape her political identity. She grew up in a Jamaica still shaping its identity in the years leading into independence, and her childhood was marked by the realities of rural poverty. Carrying water, helping with farming, and assisting in household chores were everyday parts of her life. This authentic connection to hardship gave her credibility with working class Jamaicans, who later saw her as someone who understood their struggles firsthand. Unlike many of her political rivals, she did not inherit status, wealth, or connections, and that background made her unique in a system often dominated by elites. Her resilience and determination shaped her character. She learned early that life would not be easy, but her willpower and presence made her a natural leader among peers. Portia's beginnings were not polished, but they were grounded in reality, and that reality gave her authenticity. Her life story became her strongest political weapon, allowing her to present herself as of the people, for the people. For many Jamaicans, her rise symbolized that even the most ordinary among them could break barriers and aspire to greatness. Education and early life. Portia began her schooling at Marley Hill Primary, but in 1951, the building was destroyed by Hurricane Charlie and had to be relocated to nearby Belfield. Despite these challenges, she pressed forward with her education. attending St. Catherine High School before her family moved to Gem Road in Kingston. There, she continued at St. Martin's High School, which was located on Upper Ivy Road, balancing her studies with the realities of life in the capital. Even while serving as a cabinet minister years later, her drive for self-improvement remained strong. She pursued studies at the Union Institute in Miami, Florida, where she earned a diploma in public administration in 1997. She also took short courses at the University of the West Indies and completed leadership training at Harvard's Kennedy School of Government. These pursuits gave her the academic grounding that complemented her political instincts. More than degrees, however, her education came through experience and service. She immersed herself in community work, grassroots organizing, and social programs, learning to connect with people in ways textbooks could not teach. She spoke plainly, sometimes roughly, but in a way that ordinary Jamaicans understood. For supporters, this was her greatest strength, and she didn't pretend to be someone she wasn't. Education gave her tools, but the streets of Kingston and the voices of her constituents became her true classrooms. Introduction to politics. Portia entered politics during the turbulent 1970s, when ideological battles and violence gripped Jamaica. In 1976, she was elected as Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Andrew, a seat she would hold unbroken for over 40 years. Rising as a woman in this climate was remarkable, but Portia's boldness and constant presence in her community set her apart. She was visible, accessible, and willing to meet her people where they were, whether at funerals, schools, or on the corner in tense moments. This earned her loyalty that endured for decades. Throughout her career, she held several key ministerial portfolios, including labor, social security, tourism, sport, and local government. In each, she emphasized the programs for the poor and marginalized, often leaning into Michael Manley's philosophy of social justice. Her ability to translate policy into real-world empathy for ordinary Jamaicans became the backbone of her reputation. By the 1990s, she had established herself as one of the most popular figures in the PNP, building the base of support that would one day propel her to party presidency. Rise to leadership. Her ascent to the top of the PNP came in 2006, after the retirement of P.J. Patterson. The leadership contest was intense, with internal rivals like Dr. Peter Phillips questioning her competence. Still, Portia prevailed, becoming not only president of the PNP, but also Jamaica's first female prime minister. It was a historic milestone, celebrated across the region and the diaspora. The sight of a poor black woman from rural Jamaica taking oath of office moved countless people, signaling a new era of possibility. Yet leadership brought challenges. Her narrow victory within the party highlighted divisions, and powerful figures in the PNP elite often resisted her leadership style. While the grassroots adored her, some in the hierarchy viewed her as too populist and lacking polish. This tension between mass appeal and the party elite would remain a constant struggle throughout her time as leader. Even so, her rise was undeniable proof that she had broken barriers few thought possible. Achievements in office. Now, everyone knows about Portia Simpson's flaws. But before we get there, let's look at her many accomplishments. Portia Simpson Miller's symbolic achievement, becoming Jamaica's first female prime minister, remains one of the greatest milestones in the nation's political history. She showed women that the country's highest office was not beyond their reach. Beyond symbolism, however, she invested in expanding social programs like PATH, the Program of Advancement through Health and Education, spearheaded housing initiatives for low-income families, and prioritized community development. She also kept Jamaica visible on the international stage, representing the nation at the United Nations, CARICOM, and the various global forums, where she spoke passionately about poverty and equality. Her second term, which began after the PNP's landslide victory in the December 2011 elections, came during one of Jamaica's most difficult economic periods. Faced with a crushing debt crisis, her government signed a 2013 agreement with the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, to stabilize the economy. Though austerity measures followed, the deal preserved Jamaica's financial credibility and created the groundwork for future fiscal stability. For her supporters, this demonstrated her ability to steady the country during turbulent times. Even in difficult circumstances, her personal popularity endured, reflecting the trust many Jamaicans continued to place in her. Mistakes, scandals, and flaws. For all her successes, Portia Simpson Miller's political career was shadowed by mistakes and controversies that have become inseparable from her legacy. Perhaps the most damaging was the Trafigura scandal of 2006, where the People's National Party was accused of accepting 31 million Jamaican dollars from Dutch oil company Trafigura Behir while still in government. Though Portia herself was not directly accused of wrongdoing, she faced criticism for the way her administration handled the matter. The refusal to provide clear explanations, coupled with the party's attempts to block public scrutiny, fueled suspicions of corruption. This scandal became a defining moment, as it reinforced the perception that her leadership struggled with transparency and accountability at critical junctures. Beyond Trafigura, her leadership style left her vulnerable. While she thrived in grassroots campaigning, she often appeared detached from the technical aspects of governance. Press conferences and parliamentary debates revealed the gaps in preparation.
Mr. Simpson Miller, your government has so far failed to adequately explain how it is you're funding free health care for children.
Well, we're funding the health care from the budget. We found money.
And the critics argued she relied too heavily on charisma instead of concrete policy direction. Her reluctance to fully engage with difficult economic discussions during Jamaica's IMF negotiations between 2012 and 2016 gave her opponents ammunition, portraying her as more comfortable in symbolic roles than in the demanding tasks of policy execution. These criticisms did not erase her popularity, but they did weaken her credibility among sections of the electorate who wanted a leader seen as disciplined and policy-driven. The internal battles within the PNP also highlighted her flaws. After her narrow victory in 2006 to replace P.J. Patterson, she constantly faced challenges from party heavyweights like Dr. Peter Phillips, who represented the intellectual and the technocratic wing of the PNP. These rivalries often erupted into public view, creating the impression of a divided party. Her leadership was popular with the grassroots, but viewed skeptically by the party's elite, who questioned her ability to navigate complex national and international issues. This split undermined the PNP's unity and often distracted from governance, showing how her strength as a mass leader sometimes became a weakness within her own organization. Additionally, Portia was criticized for her handling of other scandals and governance issues. Allegations of political favoritism, slow responses to accusations of misuse of public funds, and a defensive posture toward corruption charges gave her critics the chance to brand her administration as ethically compromised. Though she was never personally convicted of wrongdoing, the environment of mistrust during her tenure caused lasting damage to the PNP's reputation. For many Jamaicans, the scandals under her watch became intertwined with broader concerns about corruption in politics, leaving her legacy complicated, celebrated for breaking barriers, yet shadowed by doubts about governance. Where is Portia Simpson Miller now? In 2017, after the PNP's loss in the 2016 general elections, Portia Simpson Miller retired from active politics, handing the reins of leadership to Dr. Peter Phillips. Her departure marked the end of an era, the close of a 4-decade career that saw her rise from a rural households to the heights of power. Since then, she has lived quietly away from the national spotlight. Her later years have been marked by health challenges, including dementia, which has limited her public appearances. For many Jamaicans, it has been difficult to see such a once vibrant figure retreat into silence. Yet, her legacy remains powerful. She is remembered as a trailblazer who broke barriers, stood for the marginalized, and proved that gender and class need not be barriers to leadership. Whether praised or critiqued, her name is etched into Jamaican history as one of the most consequential leaders of the modern era. If you found this video interesting or informative, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed to Elite Jamaica, consider doing so, as that really does help the channel. Who would you like to see profiled next on Elite Jamaica? Let me know in the comment section down below.